I'd like to officially welcome everybody to this workshop. I'm Julia, the creator of Thrivers, and this is really exciting because this is the workshop where we check in with our wellness, and also we're going to understand how we can cultivate our confidence in our careers, which is really exciting. Before I introduce our incredible partners, if you're new to Thrivers, then welcome. It's so great to have new people here. And just a little bit about Thrivers. So on the website, we publish interviews every week. They're called The Answers to Thriving. And this is where we interview incredible, inspiring women so we can understand the risks they took, the adversities they overcame to really achieve all their ambitions that they wish for in life. It's really inspiring. And so if you ever want an injection of inspiration, head there and check them out. And then as you're experiencing now, we have these online Thriver classes where we partner with experts in wellness, wealth and work to deliver these online workshops so we can thrive in all areas of our lives. If you're watching this in your own time, because video access is given to everyone who registers for this class, then sit back, relax, and maybe join us for the next live session, because the best thing about these classes is that you get to ask your questions to the experts, which is really cool. So I'd like to check, we have this amazing platform called Zoom, and it allows you to ask your questions. So if you haven't used it before, there's a chat icon where you can write your messages. That means everyone can see them. And also we have a Q&A icon at the bottom of your screen too. So this just means that those questions are only seen by myself and the experts. So please don't hold back because your questions are really important. And in case people didn't get time to download the worksheet that we're using later tonight, I'm just going to post that in the chat, and then you can actually see how it works. So yeah, tell us where you're calling from. We'd love to know. I know we've got someone from Butley in England. Amazing. I can see we've got some people from Sydney. We've got someone from New Zealand. Amazing. It's so great to have you here. Amazing. Okay. Also, I can see some more people joining us. Welcome. So great to have you here this evening. And so today we are really honored because we've got two experts, one in wellness and one in wealth. And in our careers, where we focus on our careers. They're here in the virtual wings right now. Wow, we've got someone from Spain. Hi. We haven't had someone from Spain before, so that's awesome. So the structure, we're going to start with wellness first, because here at Thrivers, we live by the ethos that to perform to our best, we have to be well. So we're going to be doing a 10-minute mindful awareness practice, which I'm really looking forward to because, after a really busy day, it's really nice to get grounded. And even if you're waking up, if you're on the European side of the world, it's nice to have that centered feeling before we go on about our day. And then we're going to going to our partners with She Thrives, and we're going to be learning about the important skill of growing in our self-belief and confidence. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our wellness expert for this evening, and her name is Catherine Bruce. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hi, Catherine. So I'm so glad that you're here to partner and deliver the wellness session for this workshop. Mm-hmm. So you are a coach and a meditation teacher, and you combine heart and science, which is amazing. Can you tell us a little bit more about your background and the work you do?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. So I've been a coach for a few years now, and then recently, or the last year or so, I've also become a meditation teacher because I found that meditation had a profound effect on my life, and I think, and on people that I know, in terms of you can use it for stress and anxiety, but it also, when you're doing it more regularly, you develop you're less reactive when things happen. You have more compassion. You just feel a sort of sense of contentment and well-being. And there's actually neuroscience behind it, which your brain actually changes when you're meditating over time. So it's pretty cool. So and the mindfulness part of it, so we're starting with the mindfulness exercise. Mindfulness is great for confidence in that you can use it before, especially like a big presentation or a situation where you might be feeling stressed. It's a good way of just bringing yourself back to the breath and your body, and just letting all those thoughts that are in your head just calm down a bit. So that's a great one. And the meditation is similar, but it's more the practice of meditation is where you get the benefits. So the longer term, the longer you do it, you get the cumulative effects, and you become more calm and confident in everyday life.
Amazing. And how many times a day or days or how many times a week do you suggest doing this to really get the benefits, as you say, that can actually transform our mind and brain, which I think is fascinating?
Yeah. So most of the study has been done on people that meditate or do mindfulness either in 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the afternoon. But as a teacher, and I'm a busy mother and have my own business as well, like it's pretty hard to find 2 lots of 20 minutes. So I definitely do the morning meditation. And then if I can do 20 minutes in the afternoon, I would. But I think we all have enough. We don't need one more thing on our plate that we feel guilty about. So my philosophy is better done than none. So even if you do 5 minutes or 10 minutes, the thing is to keep doing it regularly, and then you'll start to see the benefits.
Okay, brilliant. Well, I hope everyone's ready. And yeah, over to you, Catherine.
Okay, great. Thank you. So everyone just get comfortable. You can in your seat, just whatever suits you. You don't have to sit up straight or do anything with your shoulders, but just whatever will be comfortable for 10 minutes. It's good if you're seated to put your feet on the ground so that you feel more grounded. And with your hands, you can either have them palm facing up, which is a receiving sort of posture, or you can have them down, which is a more grounding posture, or you can just rest them in your lap, whatever makes you feel comfortable. So when you're ready, I just invite everyone to close your eyes. Some people don't feel comfortable closing your eyes, and if you're one of those people, then you can just rest your eyes gently in front of you and just take them out of focus. And just taking 3 long, slow breaths in and out, first of all, to just center ourselves. So just breathing through your nose. One more. Now you can just let your breath go to its natural rhythm. And while we're doing this exercise, if you find that your mind has wandered, that's perfectly natural and normal. So just bring your focus back to the breath or my voice. So now just letting your attention focus on your breath. Notice the sensation of the air moving in and out of your nostrils. And just let the sensations of the in-breath and the out-breath fill your awareness. And just riding the wave of the breath in and out. Now moving your attention to focus on your chest. And just letting the sensation of the breath rising and falling of your chest fill your awareness. Noticing your chest rising and falling. Just riding the wave of the breath. Now moving your attention to your belly. You may like to place a hand on your belly and let the sensation of its movement fill your awareness. Notice as your air fills your lungs, your diaphragm beneath them pulls down and pushes your belly out. And as you breathe out, the diaphragm relaxes and the belly moves inward. And just continue to let the sensation of your belly moving in and out fill your awareness. Riding the wave of your breath in and out. Just letting your awareness be filled with the sensation of your belly's movement. And now letting your attention find the sensation of the breath wherever it feels most natural for you. That might be the sensation of your belly moving in and out. Or maybe the chest rising and falling. Maybe the sensation of the air moving in and out of your nostrils. And perhaps it's your whole body just breathing in and out. Wherever the sensation of the breath is felt most readily for you, let that become the focus of attention. Now letting the sensation of the breath fill your awareness. Go in and out. In and out. Just riding the waves of the breath in and out. We'll just sit here for a few moments. And at some point you may notice that your mind has wandered. And just gently bring your attention back to the breath. And just bringing your attention back to the room. Slowly bring some movement into your hands, your feet, your jaw. And when you're ready, just gently open your eyes.
Thank you, Catherine.
You're welcome. It feels
Amazing. How does everyone feel? I feel very grounded and relaxed.
Great.
I think it's quite interesting. I don't know if anyone finds this about breathing into your belly and like letting it go. I can always find that a bit of a struggle. I don't know if it's for years of doing ballet where you're told to pull it in all the time. But it's like I'm forcing it out. That's probably wrong, isn't it?
I think it's hard because we get used to breathing up here or on your chest, and that's when when you can do the belly or the diaphragmatic breathing, that actually calms your sympathetic nervous system down. So it brings your body into a state of relaxation. So when we're busy all the time and we forget to breathe and you just it's good to just take a pause every now and then, just practice doing, you can do it like 4 seconds in, hold it for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds and hold it for 4 seconds. And that's a really great way to bring your breathing down again and calm yourself.
Okay, brilliant. Oh, someone said that they feel light and alert. That's really nice. Well, thank you, Catherine. I know we're going to close the session with you as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just temporarily say goodbye for now.
Okay.
And so now we're moving on to tonight's focus, how to cultivate career confidence. And I'm just going to unmute our panelists for tonight. So Amy and Belinda, welcome.
Hi. Hello. Hi, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us to provide this session. I think it is absolutely so important. And we love what you have created with She Thrives, which is all about empowering women and specifically mothers, if I'm correct, returning to work. Can you explain a little bit about how the idea came about? Because I love your story.
Yeah, so we created She Thrives, I guess, out of a really deep desire to support women to be able to return to work and thrive after they've had children. So we were very aware of the experiences of our friends and family and people that we've met in our extended network, and of the real challenges that women face, not only when they have children and they want to return to work, but even before that. So we also knew that having access to a career coach is not something that many women have or can afford or have access to. So what we really wanted to do with She Thrives was create a whole lot of online experiences and tutorials and resources that women can tap into for a fraction of the cost of having their own career coach. So that's, I guess, what really drove us to create. And I guess at the core of what we do, we have a real belief that when you are thriving, when you are fulfilling all those different parts of you, your well-being is enhanced. And I guess at the core of what She Thrives is about is really supporting women to achieve optimal well-being.
Yeah, that is absolutely fantastic. And I totally agree. Sometimes coaching can be very expensive. So I love that women have can access your resources. And I know you've got lots of courses on your website, and we can talk a bit about that at the end as well. So when we connected and we talked about what we could cover in a Thrivers workshop, you made it really clear that it actually all starts with confidence. Why is it so important to work on this skill as a fundamental place to start?
Yeah, I think, it's interesting. So we've been working with women and men for over 10 years now. And, whether that person was the owner of a multi-million-dollar organization, or they were, someone who just left university or someone just starting out on their career, confidence and a certain lack of confidence would come up in almost every single coaching conversation we would ever have. It's such a fundamental experience, a fundamental set of feelings and thoughts and beliefs that we see it holding people back all the time. And when we look at all of the programs that we run, they're quite varied, but at the core, a lot of them are all about building confidence. So for us, we know that it's a huge barrier that holds women back. Not just from our own experience, but there's a lot of research coming out in terms of women actually identifying themselves that a lack of confidence is holding them back. I think we'll touch on that a little bit later in our chat. The other thing about confidence is that it's not static. So you're not born with a certain amount of confidence that sticks with you for the rest of your life. It's something that moves in ebbs and flows as you go through the seasons of life. And that's exciting because it means that you can access confidence again if you remember having it in the past. And we've all had experiences of feeling a high level of confidence in the past. The last reason that we love talking about confidence to women is that it's one of the most researched topics in psychology. So it's a construct that has had a lot of research done around it. And what that means is that we can access strategies that are scientifically based and that they've done loads of studies on. We can access those strategies and share them with women who can start to put them into practice in their own lives.
Fantastic. Well, I can't wait to participate myself, because it's something I definitely struggled in my last career. And it wasn't until I completely got out of that that I realized that it was actually harming my confidence. So brilliant. I'll hand over to you girls the session.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cool. Now we've prepared some slides, so we are going to be bumbling through the controls here. So bear with us when we pop the slides up on the screen, everyone. We're using a system that we don't normally use, but Julia assures us that it's very good. So I'm sure that it'll all be okay.
Can I just check something with you ladies? If people have questions, are we going to make time at the end rather than during it?
Yeah, so Amy and I chatted about that. Do you want to?
No, look, I think as we go through, if questions come up, we're happy to take them, Julia. It probably makes more sense. So feel free, everyone, to post your questions, and we'll look across, and or Julia, you can call them out.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. Yeah.
And we'd actually love that. Like if something springs to mind as you're hearing us talk, please pop it in the chat, because that just reminds us that you haven't fallen asleep and that we're on the right track in our presentation to you. So we will definitely respond to all of that. What we know about confidence, we're just going to kick straight off. We know that confidence is a big and complex topic. Our aim today is to make it simple. So we're really going to try and take a lot of the concepts that we've learned and give you the experience of working through building your confidence back firsthand. So our hope is that you'll get a dose of education, but you'll also feel a big dose of empowerment, because what we want is for you to take what we're going to cover today and start to put it into practice in your own life. And what you'll learn in today's session, we're going to be talking about career confidence, but you'll be able to apply the same process to any parts of your life where you're feeling that your confidence has dropped. Now, I mentioned before that we're going to tag team. So Amy and I have split the presentation up, so we'll be switching between us. And to kick off, what we're going to do is just take a quick look at the objectives that we've set for this workshop. And as we go through this, I want you to think about for yourself, what might be one or two things that you would really specifically like to get out of today's workshop. So we've got our objectives, but I want you to think about what would make spending this time together this evening or this morning for our friends on the other side of the equator. What would make this session really worthwhile for you? What would you like to achieve? So scribble that down on a piece of paper, or if you're feeling brave, put it in the chat, because we love to see that as well. So let's have a quick look at what our objectives are. So first of all, we'd love that you could walk away having a better understanding of the concept and the science of confidence. So we're going to touch on a little bit of the science, and you'll start to unpack what this thing called confidence actually is. Secondly, we want you to be able to start to identify and become aware of your own confidence crashing triggers.
Well, Belle has her water. Thirdly, we're going to highlight the hotspots in your career confidence that need attention and that need work, and you'll learn how to work on those tonight. And fourth, you're going to put in place some strategies to rebuild that career confidence. So we'll share some really key tips to actually move that confidence up to where you want it to be. So they're the sort of 4 key objectives that we're going to touch on throughout the course of tonight.
Cool. Now, what we'd love to draw your attention to next is the worksheet for our workshop. Now, if you've been able to print that out, that's fantastic. We want you to scribble all over this tonight, and we will direct you to certain parts of the worksheet, or the discovery tool as we refer to it. Now, throughout the session, if you don't have this worksheet, what you can do is just grab a piece of paper, draw a circle, and split it into 6 parts. So if you haven't been able to download the workshop, it's no trouble at all, but draw that circle on a piece of paper so that you can capture down everything as we go.
Okay. So we've talked about confidence being a really big and complex construct. So what we're going to do tonight is really unpack it and try and break it down to focus on really the areas of confidence that affect your career, which is the sort of the pinpoint for tonight. So when we talk about confidence and self-confidence, we like to use the analogy of a tree, where we are the tree, and this tree is growing and changing with life's transitions and stages. And our self-confidence, our confidence is the soil. And if we don't water and nourish that soil, that soil is unable to help the tree to grow and flourish and continue to develop. So in that sense, our self-confidence really is the foundation for our growth and for facilitating further growth. So if you just sort of sit with that for a little minute. I guess when we talk about confidence in popular literature or in the media, we hear often self-confidence and self-esteem talked about in conjunction with each other quite often. And whilst they are certainly related to each other, we thought we'd just spell out, the slight differences between the two, because it's sort of important for what we're going to talk about tonight. So when you think about self-esteem, self-esteem is our self-worth, or our self-respect. So it's the belief that we're deserving of happiness, of love, and of success. It's essentially that L'Oreal slogan of "you're worth it." So that's when you think of self-esteem, think of that. It's that self-value and self-worth. Self-confidence, on the other hand, is a little bit different. Self-confidence refers to an individual's trust in their own abilities, in their own capacities, and in their own judgment. So it's an individual's belief that they can actually succeed. So if you remember that story from when you were little, of the little engine that could, I don't know if anyone remembers that story, but this is where self-confidence was really highlighted at a very early age to many of us, and it's really that set of beliefs and feelings of knowing that you can do it. So self-confidence is our focus for tonight. Hopefully that just helps to define a little bit what we mean about confidence when we talk about confidence.
So I want you to grab to the next slide on this. I want you to grab your discovery tool now, and now that you've got a bit of a sense of how self-confidence is a little bit different from self-esteem, that inner belief that you can do it, you can face what's coming up, I want you to reflect on a time when you felt at your most confident. Now, this could be a work experience or it could be something outside of work, but I want you to think of a time when you were at your confident best. I want you to scribble that down on your discovery tool right in the middle of the circle. And I want you to think about the thoughts and feelings that come up for you when you think about that time. So just take a moment and I want you to write that down. Write down the thoughts. And I know that everyone can access a time in the past when they felt really confident. When you reflect on this, you might be thinking of things like your thoughts at that time might have felt quite clear for you. You might have felt in control. You might have felt more in control of your emotions at that time. You might have felt like you were able to enjoy yourself a little bit more, like you had a sense of enthusiasm, or this inner sense that, yeah, things are going to turn out okay in the end. Things are going to turn out well. Catherine talked about the breath and how important the breath is in calming us and giving us a sense of confidence, and feeling like your breathing is easy is something that actually is associated with a feeling of inner confidence often. So that these things might be some of the senses, some of the feelings that you're feeling at this time in the past. Now, being able to access these memories, these times, is actually a really important confidence tool that we'll talk about later in the session, because just by sitting in all the emotions and the memories and the thoughts of that time can be really confidence building. Writing it down can be really powerful because it can be an anchor that you can come back to. And this is often a state of being that we want to cultivate.
Someone's asked, is it different from when you're given praise for doing something?
Yeah, that's a great question, actually. Now, getting praise from somebody else can absolutely be confidence building. Receiving that positive feedback can definitely build your confidence. It does so in a different way than when you are reflecting on a personal previous experience where you have achieved something that you are proud of. So both of these experiences are confidence building. But the experience of achieving something that you have done that you are proud of, where you have had to overcome obstacles, for example, or you have had to follow through on something or do something, the power of that in building your confidence is even more. Does that make sense? Sorry, I can't see the chat when we've got the slide up. So
yeah, they said that's great.
Yeah, so both very powerful, but I guess from a scientific perspective, one is exponential and the other one is very valuable, but not as powerful, but still very, very powerful. And even if we were to flip that, receiving negative feedback can be really challenging to our confidence. So they can both have a very big impact. Now, we mentioned earlier, one of the reasons why we're passionate about confidence and helping women to build confidence is because confidence is an issue for so many women. There was a study done only a few weeks ago by an organisation called Women's Agenda, and they surveyed 1,800 women. And what they found out was that these women were ambitious as ever. So when they talked to them about what they were hoping for in the future, ambition was something that just about every woman had. But what they also found was when they talked to the women about the barriers that they could see as potentially getting in the way of them achieving their ambition, the number one thing that came up was the lack of confidence. So above any of the other things, above any of the external barriers that might hold them back, over 50% of the women in this study identified that poor self-confidence would be something that would potentially hold them back. So this is something that we all need to do something about, and it makes us even more passionate. But I think normalizing it is really important, because often we think that we're the only ones who feel like we're not good enough. We're not adequate to achieve the goal that we want to achieve, and recognizing that it's a really normal human emotion that a lot of women are feeling, I think can be very empowering. Now, I mentioned a little bit earlier about how receiving feedback that's negative can help to deplete our confidence. So I think it is important to recognise what confidence isn't as well, and how that can leave us feeling. And if you guys are interested in building your confidence, or feeling like there's a deficiency in your confidence that you want to work on, you might feel that you've been experiencing some of the following behaviours and feelings. So I'll just go through a couple of those. And, if anyone wants to pop a yes or a thumbs up or an I'm feeling this in the chat, please do so. But the types of feelings and behaviours that we associate with a lack of confidence are a reluctance to take action. If there's something holding you back to just go out there and do something, that can often be a signal that your confidence needs a boost. If you feel like you're becoming a little bit more reserved, you're holding back a little bit, that's also a signal. If you're feeling feelings of self-doubt, you're starting to doubt your ability when in the past you haven't doubted your ability so much. You might feel anxious, you might feel unsure, you might feel that you've lost a bit of trust in your own decision making. You might feel that you're generally starting to hold back and you're not as assertive as you used to be. Does anyone relate to those feelings?
Yeah, we've got a few yeses, and we've got some in the Q&A.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, so they're definitely signals that your confidence is ready to be rejuvenated, if we take a positive spin on that. So would you like to continue on with the next part?
So I guess if you've had a bit of a think about where you might be feeling confidence-wise, one great thing about confidence is that it's domain specific. So what that means is you could be feeling really confident in one area of your life, say your health and fitness is really on track and you're really happy and confident with that. And you could be feeling a distinct lack of confidence in another area, such as work or relationships, for example. So it can be quite isolated, and I guess the good thing about that is you can employ strategies to target it and to get it back on track. So today in our workshop, we're obviously talking about career confidence. So we're going to focus on maybe some of the changes that you might like to make to enhance or fix some of your depleted confidence as it relates to career. The good news is that if you have confidence issues in any other areas or domains of your life, what you're going to learn today is absolutely applicable to those areas. So you can employ the same strategies to tackle any other areas where you're facing a bit of a confidence dip. So what we're going to do is jump back to our discovery tools. That should be up on the screen now. And we're just going to spend a few moments. We're just going to talk around the segments of this tool. And then at the end, you'll have a little bit of time, not long, but just a little bit of time to reflect on each of those. So each of these segments in the circle reflect a different aspect of your career. And the aim of this is to help you get really specific about where you want to work on the confidence. So which aspect of your career you need to focus on. What we're going to ask you to do in a minute after we've talked through the segments is to rate each of these segments on a rating of 1 to 10, where 1 is you've got really low confidence, in fact, probably no confidence at all in that area, and 10 is you're absolutely abundant in confidence and it probably doesn't need any attention. So you're just going to work on a little bit of a scoring system. We'll give you about a minute at the end of this. So I'll just quickly talk through each of the segments so you make sure that you understand what we mean by each of them. The first one is to consider how confident you are in terms of your values. So how aligned are your personal values to the work you're doing or potentially the company that you're working in? So that's the area of values. Secondly, we're going to get you to think about how confident you are in those important relationships that you have at work. Relationships at work are really critical to your success and your fulfillment. So having confidence in how strong and healthy they are is really key. Thirdly, how confident you are in your ability to achieve your goals at work. So do you feel like you can set yourself up to succeed? Next, we're going to consider how confident are you that the experience and the knowledge you have will enable you to succeed. So you have the required experience to set you up for success. Hopefully this is all making sense. Next, we're going to look at how confident you are in your ability to engage your unique strengths at work. So how confident are you that you can tap into those strengths and use them to your advantage at work? And finally, how confident are you in your future career aspirations? So do you have a good sense of confidence and clarity around what you might want to achieve in the future in your career? So that's just a quick explanation of each of those segments. Now we're just going to give you just a minute or so to just rate each of those segments. Don't overthink it, do it quickly. So just, whatever score sort of springs to mind, pop it down.
If anyone has any questions as well about any of those, please reach out. Someone's asked, could you give an example of your values aligning with your work?
Do you want to talk to those with me too?
So I'll give you an example of if something that's really important to you is family and being able to be present, let's say as a parent to your children, ensuring that you're in an organisation that shares that value, that understands and places an equal importance on the value of family will be really helpful in setting you up for success and fulfillment. So an organisation, for example, that supports flexible working or that really supports parents to juggle the career and family, as an example. Do you have any other?
Yeah, I think, when you think about what's important to you when it comes to work, so things that have a lot of meaning for you, and if you feel like the work that you're doing at the moment is on path with that. You feel like there's a real alignment between what's important to you and what's important to the organisation or the work that you're doing. That there's a real sense of alignment. And you know, when there's a disjoint, it can feel like you feel like you're really disconnected with the purpose of the work that you're doing or the organisation that you're working with. Does that help?
Yeah, I think that's really good. But yeah, please come through if you've got any more questions or want any more examples about any of those areas to help you better rate yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really, you know, when it comes to working with confidence, the more focused we can get, the better we can really design what we need to do. The easier it is to come up with solutions or strategies that you want to employ because you really focus in on one thing. And often when we crack that one thing, the other areas start to improve as well. But we really want you to, you know, to start to consider these areas. And I'd love to hear from everyone on the chat, just to hear that, you know, yeah, there's one area there that's shining out. Is that the case? Usually there's an area that's in need, or we've given a lower score than others. We've got any yeses or hands up, or you see?
Someone said that they're looking to change jobs because they don't enjoy their current job. Is it still worth doing this to understand what areas they enjoy?
Yeah, so they've already made the decision to change.
I think is that correct? We'll presume yes, they have.
Yep. Yeah. So I think if you've already made the decision to change, then it sounds like you already know that there's not an ideal values alignment, or there's time to, you know, might be time to potentially change because some of these other areas might not be where you want them to be. So I think, you know, focusing in on, you know, it would make sense to me to focus in on the future career aspirations, so that next step in your career is the area that you'd love to build your confidence in. How does that sound?
It sounds great. And just from looking at this chart, could you even list like what values are you looking for in a future position? All of those areas important.
Yeah, I think what it's great to do in this area is write any thoughts that come to mind as you're thinking about that area, as you rate it and you say, okay, well, you know, the relationships I have at work, I'd only give that a 4 or a 5 out of 10. And, you know, there's obviously reasons for that. So scribbling down thoughts is going to just help you to get clear on what's not working in that area for you.
Is it a trust, respect issue? Same with values. What are some of the top values that spring to mind as you go through it? And I mean, we go quite deep in this in our programs. Obviously, this is a top line exercise tonight, but yeah, do scribble down any detail that springs to mind and revisit it afterwards. So we'll move on. We'll move on to the next piece now, but yeah, keep this, and as I said, you can flesh it out following this session if that's of interest and helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. So what, you know, one of the reasons why we did this this first step is that, and they're all super related. So don't worry if you're thinking, oh, should I choose this one or choose that one as my number one priority, because they are all related. What we want you to do now is refine your focus further, and I want you to choose one of those segments that you're going to focus on even further. Okay, so now that you've given them all a rating, what's the one that's calling out to you? What's the one that, you know, when you look at the whole circle, you think, if I worked on that area, it could potentially have the biggest positive impact on my confidence. So I want you to just spend a moment thinking about where you've scored all of the different segments, and just choose one area for the purpose of this workshop. Now, once you've done that, what I want you to think about is where you would love to get this area to. So if you've given an area a 5 out of 10, and you think, you know what, if my confidence, if I could get my confidence to an 8 out of 10, then things would be where I'd like to get them. So I want you to set yourself a little goal of where you would like to shift that area to. So if you're feeling really not confident about your ability to achieve the goals you have at work, or to achieve your career goals, think about where you'd love to get your confidence to. And it might be that you just want to notch it one notch up, just from a 5 to a 6, or you might be feeling more courageous, like you want to get to an 8 out of 10 confidence. But put a number out there, because that, that gives you an indication of how you're feeling about that area as well. And here's another really important step, and that is, once you've given that area a goal rating, I want you to write down, what would having a confidence level at this new level, what would that mean to you? What will that allow you to do? What will that allow you to have? What will that allow you to create? And this is where your segment starts to become even more meaningful. So I want you to jot that down as well. And please send through any comments, any thoughts. If you want to put that in the chat, we'd love to hear that or see that as well. So write that down. What would being confident in this area mean to you? What would it give you?
Someone put they think they would be respected more if they were more confident.
Wow. Okay. Awesome. And thinking about what being respected more, what would that give you?
Is anyone else would like to share, or sometimes it's pretty personal as well, so.
That's right. Absolutely. And again, we're cramming, what we would normally do over a longer period of time in a short space. So don't feel like you need to get everything out there. Enjoy the experience and go with it. And you can go back and work on this later. So I wanted to touch on quickly what tends to happen when we do have a drop in our confidence. And people react really differently, but there's essentially, we can look at people's reactions to a drop of confidence in 3 different ways. Some of us tend to freeze. So when we don't have confidence, we stop taking steps forward because it feels too hard or too scary. And we sometimes subconsciously find ways to stop it from happening, from stopping the thing that we want happening. I don't know if anyone can relate to that, but I certainly can relate to feeling that sense of almost feeling a bit paralyzed if my confidence drops. The other thing that can happen is we have more of a flight response. So we run away. When we don't back ourselves, when we don't believe that we can actually do it, sometimes our tendency is to run away, to deny that there's an issue at all that we need to work on, or to just ignore it altogether by occupying ourselves with other things. And this is often the case when we're looking to change careers or leave companies, when we know deep down that's what we want to do, but we just kind of occupy ourselves with other things because we just don't feel like we've got the confidence to take that brave step. Others, again, might have more of a fight response. So I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but when you feel like you're losing your confidence, you might become more defensive or blame things on other people or other things. You might become more argumentative, or even just work harder and not even know what you work harder on, but you want to get more confident by just pushing further forward. So what we want to do is to start to give you some strategies that are more useful than some of these responses that we see all the time. These are all very natural responses, but they're not always very effective. So we want to start to give you some strategies that actually work.
Yeah, someone said that, yes, I freeze when lacking confidence and I find it harder to communicate. Yeah, I can relate to that.
Yes.
Someone said that it would actually mean I actually enjoyed work if they made changes. I mean, if you, yeah. Well, thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much for sharing. And it's absolutely those three things of freezing, running away, and fighting against it are all really common things. So we're going to start to share some things that you can start to use to help you to feel more confident.
So a useful thing we can do at this point is to start identifying the triggers of your confidence slumps or drops. So triggers are events or situations that have initiated this decline in confidence or this erosion of your confidence. Sometimes they're referred to as causes. We prefer to talk about them as triggers because triggers puts you in a more powerful position to actually influence them and to sort of arrest them and stop them before they happen once you know how to identify them. So recognizing your confidence crushing triggers is really helpful to any patterns that might occur in the lead up to your confidence dropping. And so having a bit of an awareness of these triggers will help you actually go, okay, I think this is happening again now, and I'm going to do something about it. So when you reflect on some of these events or situations that might have triggered your drop in confidence, write down what these are. If any spring to mind now throughout the course of this, just jot them down. It might be that, they've occurred a couple of times now and you're really aware that when this happens, your confidence starts to drop or to sort of waver. I'll give you some ideas of triggers that we hear a lot about with our clients and see if any of these resonate with you. So triggers that could impact your confidence, things like getting to the end of a really high stake project, a really important project where a lot's on the line. Wanting to start something new can trigger a bit of a confidence waver. Approaching a goal or a deadline where you feel like you're behind, you're not where you want to be at that point in time, so you feel like you're sort of underachieving versus what you had expected. Receiving negative feedback can be a really big confidence trigger. We talked about that earlier. Trying something and not getting the results that you were hoping for can trigger a bit of a confidence question. Or uncertainty about work or the future of work can also start to really kind of shatter confidence. So just a quick think, we're not going to spend too long on this, you can do it, it will come to you, I guess, over time, but starting to think about what are some of the triggers that do impact my confidence, and is it something that recurs often? Because if it is, that's actually really good. We can become aware of it and then start to employ some strategies to pull it into line.
So again, if you want to put any of those triggers in the chat, it's great for us to see those coming through. The first step is identifying what these triggers are, and as Amy mentioned, it can be really insightful because often similar things have triggered us in the past, and if we can know these, we can, you can cut them off at the past next time, where you can go, yes, I know. When my boss talks to me about this, my confidence goes down like that. And you can be prepared. You can be prepared to respond to it in a really helpful way, rather than the ways that we just talked about, by freezing up, by going into fight mode or going into flight mode and wanting to run away. So identifying the triggers is one step, and please spend the time doing that. If you want to take this work one step further, what you can do is something called reframing your triggers. And without getting too complicated with it, reframing is essentially a technique you can use to describe something differently so that it can be more helpful to your situation. So when you're looking at the triggers that you have identified, chances are you've been seeing those triggers through a certain lens and you've got your own perspective on those. What we want to do, what can be really helpful, is to introduce some new perspectives that are going to be much more helpful to building your confidence. So I'll give you an example. We've probably all worked for a boss who has been really critical of our work in some way. And often when we get feedback that's delivered in a less than productive way that's negative, it can really deplete our confidence. So a trigger might become for you receiving any kind of negative feedback from someone about your work, even if it's done in a constructive way. And if you identify that that's a bit of a trigger for you, a way that you can reframe that is by talking about that feedback as an opportunity for me to improve the way that I do my reports so that I can grow and so that I can become more effective. So essentially what we're doing is taking the negative emotion that you've infused into it and talking about it in a way that's either void of emotion, so we're just stating the opportunity, or adding in a hint of positive emotion. Because I think, one thing that we do know about the way that we process our thoughts is, events are neither positive or negative. They are just as they are, and it's how we choose to perceive them. Whether it was delivered in an effective way or not, it is doesn't really matter when we're working with our confidence. What matters is how you choose to take that event on board. And what we want to do is take it on board in a way that's really going to support you to see it in a light that's going to allow you to grow, because that's going to be the best way for you to build your confidence rather than letting it deplete you again. I'm just seeing there's some comments in the chat. So I think, the comment there about your boss just, basically being mean to you, and how can you avoid that? How can you can't get rid of your boss. It's a shame sometimes when it's a small organization, but I think it's a really relevant thing. My question to you would be is, how do you think she would react? I think it is she. I think it's she, yeah. How do you think your boss would react if she lost that ability to deplete your confidence? Because you mentioned that she reacts that way towards you and treats you that way, but not others. So I think this is a wonderful case for building confidence, not only in being able to take what she says, take the meanness out of it, and almost look at it from an observer's perspective, so that you look at what was delivered in a way that doesn't let you feel personally attacked. There's always the opportunity to be able to give her feedback about the impact of the way that she speaks to you as well, which is a whole nother step forward. But as a first step, being able to take on her behaviour in a way that has a neutral effect on you is going to help you not to take it on board in a personal way and let it erode your confidence. Hopefully that's helpful.
Is it one of those cases where you think you don't know what's going on for the other person? Maybe they've got, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and even just taking that perspective. So when we talk about reframing, Julia, what you've done there is offered a really nice reframe. Is that, shifting your focus from yourself to them might highlight that potentially there's a lot of stuff going on for that person if they're, behaving in that way. And just by doing that reframe can reduce some of the pain that you might feel. Julia, how are we going for time? Just looking at our what we've got to go.
So we probably another, to fit in the last meditation, we could probably squeeze 4 minutes.
Perfect. Okay, awesome. Keep going. We're getting towards the end.
So we've talked a lot about confidence. We've started to really unpack it. We've looked at triggers. What we're going to do now is to just give you some tips as to how you can put it into action, put some strategies in place to really help boost this confidence. So these were the objectives that we set ourselves at the beginning. We've unpacked, understood the concept and science of confidence. You've highlighted some of the hot spots in your career, confidence that need attention. You're now hopefully a little bit more aware of how to spot those triggers, those confidence crashing triggers. Now we're going to have a quick look at what strategies we can put in place to rebuild your confidence. So this will feel quite quick, but if you just jot down any notes that come to mind as we whiz through it.
Yeah. So what we've actually been doing the whole workshop is sharing with you a strategy that you can work through. Now, we talked about one right at the beginning, and that's really touching base with your past achievements and reviewing those, because we know that science tells us when you get back in touch with your really positive confidence building past experiences, that can have a really positive effect on your future levels of confidence. And what we recommend you do is you actually grab a piece of paper and you fill it with everything that you are proud of in terms of your career since the day it started. And you don't stop recalling those times when you've absolutely kicked butt, when you've been really proud of what you've achieved. You fill a whole page and you don't stop until you do. So that's a really great strategy that we recommend you give a go.
Our second strategy is to build what we call your A team. So I want you to think of 3 to 5 people who know you fairly well, and who you seem to always learn and grow from when you spend time with them. These people might challenge thinking or even give you positive feedback that you might not sort of see yourself. We refer to these people as your board of directors or your A team, and they're huge when you need to build your confidence. So tapping into them via either having a coffee with them, or even just a phone call to work through a workshop, maybe an area where your confidence has dropped is really, really helpful. So your A team, take that away and have a think about who could be on your A team.
Absolutely. Now, our third strategy, and this one is almost common sense, but it's something that we forget often, and that is we know that nourishing your body and your mind leads to increased confidence levels. So remembering to move your body, exercise your body, get out, go for a walk. If you've just had a run-in with your boss, don't sit at your desk until your face goes all red and you get upset and hot. Get some fresh air and go for a walk. But on a larger scale, consistently exercising your body and nourishing your mind with inputs that help you and nourish you and excite you and energize you. So our challenge to you is, if this strategy resonates, is to commit to consistent exercise and also commit to potentially replacing mindless social media scrolling with inputting into your brain some really nourishing information that's going to help your career.
So that brings us to our final strategy, and that is, it's a simple one too, but to seek out success stories of women like you. So one of the ways you might choose to nourish your brain is with the experience and stories of women who have achieved what you're hoping to achieve, or have achieved things that you really admire. So women like Sheryl Sandberg and Oprah are great and are inspiring, but what's really important is that you associate with women who, I guess, are similar to you in a way, or have trod a path that you would hope to tread yourself, and reflect on, their stories, their successes, and draw inspiration and confidence from that. So it really can provide a confidence boost when you get that reassurance that, other women like me have done this, can do it, I can do it. So have a reflection on women who have had successes like the ones you're hoping for.
Absolutely. So we've gone through a process today that can be really useful for you to apply, not just to your career but other areas of your life. So you can work through that wheel, look at your triggers, look to reframe your triggers, and you can also implement any of the 4 strategies that we've just spoken about. And we guarantee you that by doing any of those things, you're going to see a step change in your confidence. What we'd love to challenge you to do now is to just spend a moment thinking about everything we've covered in the last 45, 35, 40 minutes. And I want you to think of just one single thing you could put into action this week or even today. Out of everything that we've talked about in this session, what's one thing that you could start to do today? And write that down. And if you feel brave, put it in the chat as well.
Brilliant. Someone's put, because of the nature of my job, I work under a different manager every time. So I go to work and I find it hard to really be confident because I haven't got a strong relationship with them.
Mm. Do you want us to answer that?
Yeah, that's
On that?
1 minute.
Yeah, I think, I think really, reframing that to be, how could I develop a great relationship quickly with my new manager, and having your focus on building a positive relationship quickly rather than how hard it is because I don't have a strong relationship. That's just a little shift in your approach that, moves you away from what's not working, and it gives you a goal to work on. And you could become really good at that.
Yeah, I love that. All about that mindset as well, like stepping in and being, I'm going to prove how great I am today. Because I'm sure you are. I'm sure you're amazing at your job.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, ladies. And if anyone's got any other questions or you'd like to reach out, as I said, we're going to be, I know that you've got an 8 strategies worksheet for people to download, which expands on this, but it's also got lots more information on this topic. So I'm just going to put that in the chat, but I'm also going to be giving that out in the email on Saturday. I'm just going to paste it.
Absolutely. I mean, don't feel like you can't reach out to us. We've got, we've got a lot of free content that we love to share with our community. So Julia will share with you a link to download our 8 strategies for career confidence. And also feel free to jump onto our website and follow us on Insta and Facebook, because we love to share more of this stuff. Best thing to do is actually sign up to our mailing list, because then you won't miss out on anything.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Right, we're going to switch over to Catherine for our closing meditation to really install everything that we've heard here today. Hi, Catherine. Welcome back.
Bye. Thank you. That was great. I picked up a lot of good tips there as well.
Oh, you did not. You wouldn't.
Oh, I did. I really like the idea of filling a whole page with the things you're proud of. Like, I think that's such a great thing, because then you can think of, I'm sure, like 5 on your hand, but if you have to fill a whole page and you keep thinking and thinking and thinking, it's like beautiful. So,
yeah, we love that one too.
Yeah, so thank you.
Brilliant. Okay, we'll hand over to you, Catherine.
Okay, great. So the meditation I'm going to lead you in now is another thing you can use to build confidence, and it's extending that self-compassion to yourself, because often, I mean, all of us have achieved many amazing things, or even just small things, which we should be really proud of. And even the way we interact with other people, and the way we look after people and extend our love to them. And often, things go unnoticed, or we feel like nobody notices. So I just like to, when I talked about like heart and science with my coaching meditation, it's a bit of what's all that science-based work that I love, but it's also really important to come back to who you are and come back to your heart. And I think that's where a lot of confidence comes from as well, from that compassion. So just as before, just get comfortable, whatever works for you. And when you're ready, just close your eyes. And again, just breathing in gently through your nose, a long, slow breath in. And just letting the breath fall softly. And just take a couple of those breaths, just in your own time. Notice the breath moving in and out of your body. And as your breathing slows, notice your body relaxing, your mind slowing down. With each exhale, I want you to just try and relax your body a little bit more. So just starting with your face, we hold a lot of tension in our face. Just your eyes, and your cheeks, And just letting your jaw relax. And down to your shoulders. Just let them soften and relax. And just notice if there's any tension in your chest. Just breathing into the tension and just relaxing. And just coming down your right arm. Notice it calm, relaxing. And your right thumb. Your finger. Your second finger. Third finger. And your little finger. Now just coming across to your left arm. And coming down to your right thumb, left thumb. And your finger. Your second finger. Your third finger. And your little finger. And now just breathing into your belly, noticing it softening. And your hips. Your thighs. Your calves. And then just coming across to your left ankle. And the top of your foot. And your big toe. And the next toe. Your third toe. Fourth toe. And your fifth toe. And just coming across to your right foot. And relaxing the top of your foot. And your right big toe. And your second toe. Third toe. Fourth toe. And your little toe. And now just noticing that your body is relaxed. And your mind is calm. And just feeling the breath moving in and out of your body. Now if it's comfortable for you, just place a hand over your heart, or you can put both hands there if you want to. Using our breath and extending compassion towards ourselves can be a really powerful and a resource for soothing, supporting, encouraging and building confidence. So I just want you to bring to mind an image of yourself as a 5-year-old child. And just looking at your face as a 5-year-old. Just noticing the childlike qualities, the innocence, the joy, just the open-heartedness. Now I just want you to repeat these phrases silently to your 5-year-old self. I see you. I love you. And I am so proud of you. I see you. I love you. And I am so proud of you. Just notice how that feels. And just spend a few moments here, just continuing to breathe in and out. You can feel your chest rising and falling. When you're ready, you can just gently let your hands drop to your lap. Just slowly bringing your attention back to the room. Move your jaw and your hands and your feet. And then when you're ready, just open your eyes.
Thank you, Catherine. That was very powerful.
Was it?
Yeah. I've never done meditation like that before.
Visualization.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I hope everyone really enjoyed that. And thank you so much to Amy and Belinda for your session today. That was really empowering, and I hope people, if they have any feedback, please let us know how you go. But and thank you to Catherine. I'll be putting your email, and also Catherine, you've got an offer for a meditation app called Unplug.
Yeah, there's a great studio in LA, and they have all the best teachers around the world really coming there. And so this app is a collection of the best meditations that they've done, and I can offer everybody a 1-month free subscription to try it out.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I'll be sending details in the follow-up email for that. That flew by. Thank you so much. I will give good advice and feedback and compliment colleagues. That's great. You recognize that in yourself. Fantastic workshop. Thanks so much. Okay, brilliant. Just really want to quickly say that in 2 weeks' time, we have another workshop, and it's Dress to Progress. We've partnered with a stylist who is going to be helping us with our fashion decisions, because we feel like we've done the confidence and the inner work in this session, and then we're going to be moving and working on the outer confidence part. So she's going to be talking about how sometimes we get trapped in making our clothing decisions that just out of habit. So she's going to be talking about how we can feel really great in what we dress. She also works for the charity Dress to Success, which is really awesome. So that's happening in 2 weeks. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining us today, and keep believing in yourselves. I believe in you, and have a great evening or a good day, and hope to see you next time. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.